Hello and welcome to the Flory Models Friday catch-up show. Here we are with you on the 27th of October 2023 after a really busy week, productive week, which is quite good. Obviously we had a lot of chats. We spoke about this particular kit. We'll talk about that in a moment. Been pushing on really nice with the Viking now, so we're into paint. We are literally just after I do this going to do the black work and start doing the bays with it, get those all painted. Really pushing on with that one. And then last night, live with you, we were all about primers. So we were showing the difference between an acrylic primer like this and then obviously a lacquer primer like that. And obviously that has sparked a few questions, which we'll talk about when we get round to doing those in a moment. So anyway, all started on Monday when I was talking about this particular kit. And obviously it's not clickbait. This is the kit that changed my life. If you haven't seen it, go off and have a look. It is a review because I do review it at the end. But the first sort of 10-15 minutes, I talk about how literally this kit has got me to where I am today. I honestly believe if it wasn't for this particular kit, I wouldn't be here now in front of you, and I certainly wouldn't have been doing my dream job for the last 20 years if it wasn't for this particular kit. It is, of course, the beautiful Hasegawa 1/48 scale F4J for the Phantom. Again, this kit first came around in 1982. Yes, it's 41 years old. It's absolutely incredible to think this kit is 41 years old. I'm definitely getting old now. But this thing really came along and it just changed the entire modelling world, I think, in one form or another. Obviously, for mine, it took me from being a hobbyist, just a person who built some models in my spare time, to actually becoming my full-time job. And again, if you watch the video, you can find out all about how I did that one. But also, I think it's one of these kits that changed the world because of aftermarket. For the first time, you had a kit that was opened up and could be really, really updated and improved upon with aftermarket. And obviously, resin at the time was the way forward. I know, obviously, now it's being superseded a lot with 3D printing. But resin, Aries tubs for it, aftermarket ejection seats for this one. Obviously, aftermarket decals because of the hundreds of different schemes that are available for this particular kit. So aftermarket decals, things to nozzles, wheels, tyres, you name it, weapon sets. This kit actually had it in its time. And to think that this kit is actually 41 years old is absolutely incredible because it stands up, as far as I'm concerned, against a lot of kits to this day. And okay, the price with inflation and everything keeps creeping up for what is a 41-year-old kit, but this is one of those few ones where I would build it tomorrow. And in fact, I'm going to be building it in around about 3 weeks' time. So we're going to be having this for live over the Turkey Shoot weekend. I'm going to build it over the weekend. And it is literally just one of those. So not only did it change my life, but I think it literally gave a platform to a hell of a lot of cottage industries, people like myself who literally, do this from home at the end of the day. A lot of small aftermarket companies started up, and obviously it gave larger companies room to expand their ranges as well. So after this one, obviously we had all the other Hasegawa kits coming through, which obviously a plethora of aftermarket was made available from it as well. So I think we all should really just, have a moment's silence for this particular kit because it did change everything, not just for me, but for, I think, for a lot of companies out there as well. And it is still, by today's standard, a really, really nice kit. Yes, it hasn't got all the frills and all the bits and pieces. That's why there was aftermarket available for it. But at the end of the day, just for a curbside model, if you like, everything closed up, it is still a fantastic kit. And I'm really looking forward to having a look back at this one. I only chose a handful of my favourite builds, which you can see there on the side for the photos at the end. I've actually built around about 40 Phantoms over the years of this particular kit, of the J and the E. So yes, definitely. Anyway, if you want to go off and see that one and find out how it did change my life in detail, you can go off now and watch that one. It is available obviously on social media, obviously on the Flory Models, and obviously on YouTube as well. So there's that one. Tuesday, it was all about synthetic paints. So, a little bit of the old clickbait titles we know, but synthetic acrylic paints, best of both worlds. And me and Matt were discussing, obviously, how great this stuff is and how it's really, really useful for learning to airbrush and everything. So what are we talking about? At the end of the day, we're talking about alcohol-based acrylic paint. So acrylic, we tend to think of being water-based and things like that, but obviously these are synthetic ones. So technically what you've got down in here is the Guns range, and then obviously we've got the Tamiya range of XFs, which are actually, as you can see with the flammable symbol on them, means that they are actually alcohol-based. Obviously, I've got the AKs down in here, but I'm pretty sure they've moved over to lacquers these days. But they were, in the early days, definitely a synthetic as well. But really, with this particular show, we were talking about, obviously, the pros and cons to it, what we love about them, what we don't like about them, and really just pointing out that if you are new to airbrushing, they're a great way of starting. You know, the guns range has got your back with all the colours. The Tamiya, obviously, World War II, they've got all your colours down in there. But they are really easy to use, and they've got a very wide sweet spot. So some, you know, paint manufacturers, you need to be a little bit of an alchemist to get the ratios and the retarders right, and the air pressures and your distance to make them to work. The great thing about synthetics is 50-50 to start with, and they will spray. You can spray them neat if you wanted to, and you can spray them incredibly thin, and they don't fall apart like other people's paints do. So that's really what that show is about, and talking about that. Obviously answering all your questions. It is a live show, so if you want to join in with any of these ones, we're live with you Tuesday afternoon at 3 p.m. So if you are around for it, you can join in with the conversation. If not, again, that one's a free to watch. You can go off and see that one right now. But that was me and Matt basically talking about those great paints. PM show, to be honest with you, we sat down about half an hour before we recorded the show, and it was like, we've got nothing actually to talk about. It's a really, really quiet time. So we spoke about that, and we were speaking about how there isn't many kit releases out there. And okay, I can take a lot of people's points out there, where a lot of people are saying, because obviously with the credit crunch and everything that's going on at the moment, I totally get that. But at the end of the day, our hobby is one of those ones that's always still technically quite strong, even at these times of, you know, people struggling and things like that. People still find time, because it's not a massively expensive hobby, not if you compare it to other things out there. So definitely, I think for an hourly rate, it's still one of the cheapest hobbies you can possibly do. So we were talking about that and discussing, you know, why we think there isn't any kits around, why there should be kits around, and everything in between. Plus the fact, the roundup of your questions and everything that's been going on with the PM store. Little bit of a spoiler for you, keep an eye on the PM store. We've got a bit of a thing happening very soon. All right, so in a couple of weeks' time, I'm sure there might be a bit of an announcement on that particular one. That brings us bang up to date. Last night, we're following along from a lot of the questions that were being asked on the actual Tuesday show. I decided that I would do this live and show you the difference between AK's 3rd gen primer, and then obviously for other ones as well. If I just mute this in and we just pull through to where we're talking. And I was basically showing about mixing up paints, how you mix it up, how you want it to be quite nice and thin, how you're spraying it down and, you know, blowing it over it, getting a tacky coat down, then a sort of heavy coat, then you want a nice wet coat afterwards, all the way through. So that was live throughout the entire of the show. And then over here you can see that I'm actually showing about using lacquers and the different approach to it, because spraying lacquers down is totally different from spraying actually acrylics. With acrylics, it's just sitting on the surface, not etching, it's not biting into the surface of the plastic like lacquers do. So you do have a different approach to it. You've got to be a lot lighter. You've got to let these things dry in. You've got to give them time, where obviously with this one, with the last 5 minutes in the show, I just whacked it down, and you can see how well it goes on with this particular one. But if you do want to join in with this one, obviously you can do. Obviously, if you've got any questions for us from any of these shows, please put them in the YouTube comments if you're not a member. And then hopefully we'll be able to answer your questions and things like that on a future show as well. So it's quite nice to get the sort of interaction between you guys and us doing this type of work. But there we go. That's just the tacky coat going down now. And you'll see within seconds it's totally dry. So we can just go right the way over it again with a more heavy coat, which is going down round about now. Within seconds, and then I show quickly how it dries very, very fast. So this is dry within literally moments, and then it's usable and handleable within around about 10 minutes as well. So again, it's one of those, you just want to let it dry totally after off when you're finished with it. I wouldn't go around putting a top coat on for a good couple of hours, but to just build up layers quickly, it's a great way of priming. So if you want to see all about primers, the different ways, the different techniques, and the different approaches to it, obviously you can do that now. You can catch up with that show. That's up with you in front. And then that gets us bang up to date to today. We've got part 6 of the Viking. So this is the Italeri 48 scale Viking. And this one really is all about rescribing, finishing, and re-riveting. So I showed different techniques about rescribing, because obviously well, a lot of it's been obliterated completely, so we've had to put all these back in, especially around this area, because obviously we've got the join from the wings, so consequently we've lost a lot of this detail down in here, so we had to scribe all of these back in. But also about polishing and finishing. So we had some small little defects down in here where the canopy attached, so a little bit of filler, a little bit of filling, things like that. And again, different techniques of scribing. So we talk about push scribing, pull scribing, and the sort of engraving way of doing it. We show about obviously freehand scribing, using templates with it, and then obviously we talk about riveting and how to go about the riveting and get that all dialed in with it as well. And then obviously hopefully you end up with something looking very much like that after you finish. You think you've got a big old seam line through the middle and the big old ones for the wings here. And again, it just shows a little bit of perseverance, get the filler in there, get sanding, and then obviously going back and popping in all the detail afterwards will pay absolute dividends. And there we go, that's the wing all sorted out just like that afterwards. And here she is. So all done. As I say, we've got it all masked up here now because we're literally about to go in the spray bay after we do this. We can get the front end done in black, and then obviously we can get the weapons bay and all the electronics bays and things like that, and the actual wheel wells all painted up and sorted. We get them painted white. We can then obviously detail these up, get these painted, and then at last we can get some decals onto it. But hopefully you can see we've got the riveting running right the way through on this one. I know it's a little bit difficult to see, but we've got the riveting down here on the tail. Haven't gone massively overboard with it, but as you just saw in that photo, again, it's just going through some of these areas, getting them all nicely done. And again, all sorted. And again, at the same time, we've gone around and we've re-riveted everything around the actual engines and gone through. So what this actually means now, we've actually turned a corner now, that we're into a situation where we're pretty much all sorted now, and we can really start to push on, which is something I've been eager to get on with, but been sort of just bogged down getting it done. So hopefully by Monday this thing will be pretty much ready, get the decals onto it. Next week definitely start to get it together and start to push through very much on this. Looking forward to doing the weathering, because obviously we are going to weather it up. That's why I haven't gone with sort of a high vis bird, one of the sort of 1980s jets. We've gone with the grey, so we can do a little bit more with the weathering on that one. So I'm really looking forward to getting onto that. The other thing, as you can see just down in here, this from last night is our, a bit closer, you can probably see, and this is absolutely velvet, and that's what we were talking about with these. So just making sure you put them down just a little bit wetter so you don't get any texture, so that texture doesn't get actually pushed through onto your actual final finishes and stuff like that. But it is smooth as silk, really nice. And then down under here as well, you can probably see this is absolutely gorgeous as well. No problem with these, it's gone in beautifully. Very, very nice. So again, looking forward to this one. Keep an eye out, because obviously next week, hopefully we'll get this into paint. I am doing it in the North Atlantic scheme. So this particular one is going to be with the white. So if you're having trouble painting white, that's probably going to be Tuesday's show. And then obviously what we'll do is we'll get the grey on over the top of it as well. So still lots of fun to come on that one. So both of these actually similar stages as they're coming along. We'll get this one into paint this week, and then we'll be really making good progress for that, and then we can get it onto its gear, get some markings onto it, and then again we'll go through the full weathering. Don't forget, this one is a live build, so I'll only be building it and working on it when we're live as well. So if you want to keep up with those ones, just keep an eye on all the bits and pieces going on just like that. Anyway, as always, we better have a quick look round on the actual store with PM models. So we've had a couple of bits in this week, saying about nothing at all, but these ones are actually reboxes. So these are the gorgeous Hasegawa kits. So these are the big 32nd scale. This is the D, which I do believe was then reboxed by Revell, was it? I think Revell kicked out this kit at some point as well. So this is the big old D9, the stretched version of a 190 if you like. So very nice done as well. So you've got mid-production and the late production one just down in there. Beautiful kits, and actually not a bad price either. So I assume those will come with a mask set. Normally they do with Hobby 2000. That's nice. The other one as well that's new in as well is the special Hobby, the Thunderstreak. So this is the 72nd one, and again it's only 19 quid, so it's actually not a bad price. All right, so again we've got those, and we were pretty much nothing else coming this week, as we were saying before. Over on the actual specials, so on the special section, a couple of new things. We've got Mini Arts gorgeous T54. So this is the 1947 mod. Again, really nice, good price on that one. We've got the Invader as well from Hobby Boss is down in there. We've got that Hertz, again, nice deal on that one. We've got the Under Thunder Flash as well. This is the sword one in 72nd, and again the other bits that we've spoken about before down in here, some very nice stuff. Again, that classic Tamiya, which at 17 quid, that's just such a bargain. Everyone should have one in their stash. Or as you say, a really nice kit is Edard's 48 scale. This is obviously Tales from Iwo Jima. Again, fantastic kit, beautiful kit. And some of the others down in here, we've got the Hobby Boss one, we've got the Hobby Boss Skyhawk, and all the other bits down in here as well. And if you want something a bit quirky for the weekend, treat yourself to the Sanders Row. Definitely quirky. down in there like that. So yes, and that is about it for this week. Good week. Looking forward to next week because again, apart from the deckling, it's going to take a while, but the rest of it is all going to be about painting and weathering and stuff like that, and that's my favourite bit. Last thing to talk about, if you've got any questions about this one, I know I've had a lot about it, about obviously me working with this kit and going professional and all things like that. I probably will do a follow-up show to answer a lot of those questions because there's just so many I've been bombarded with. I will do a follow-up and a standalone video about that as well. So if you've got any questions, stick it on social media, ask me down on YouTube and all the rest of it. I'll write them all down and I'll answer your questions at a later date with that particular one as well. Anyway, that's it from me. As always on a Friday, I'm going to leave you with your great work from the gallery. So until Monday, everybody, happy modelling. Take care.
I was not ready to falling like I'm wasted.